The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. If you enjoy our work, please like, comment, subscribe, and follow the links in the description. Thanks for your support, and enjoy.
Greetings and salutations, listener. It is I, Eric J. Chucky, joined as always by the boy.
Hey.
This is the Two Nerds Podcast, and we're very tired.
We've left the podcast recording quite late this week because, well, of the subject of the recording.
Yeah, that's always a nice spicy memeable, as we like to say, here in the Two Nerds Podcast household.
Yep. So this week we are covering the brand spanking new WWE 2K 2019. That's right. That's how you say it.
Okay. Just the urge to do the it's good and then cut to the outro music is very strong, but I don't want to be editing that stuff. I have things to do in the morning. So, what are your thoughts on it? Because I can go on at length in general, and I'm more paying attention to the community than you are. What tell me what you think about this game.
I've played a bit of it so far. I've created about 3 people in the Creator Wrestler Suite, or Creator Superstar, whatever they call it now. And I've played several matches. I think the actual mechanics of the game have improved over last year. I wouldn't say substantially, but I would say enough to be noted. They've changed a couple different mechanics to different, in ways that I find very positive. They've got a couple new things that I really enjoy. And special bonus shout out to the Royal Rumble mode, which is, for the first time in a long time, not just fun because of all the fun shit that happens, but fun to actually play as a video game mode, which is a nice change.
Yeah, usually we save the Royal Rumble until we've made 30 creator wrestlers and then decide who's going to be up for the title and, using the Royal Rumble. This year,
we just played it first night.
We started with one, yeah. Well, they had the Women's Rumble in, so we were excited to see how that played out. I figured there wasn't a better test of whether or not the game chugs when there's 8 people in the ring than
the Rumble.
Yeah, the Rumble.
Where that's going to happen a lot with a lot of different people. That is worth noting as well. Some other stuff that's improved since last year is that the slowdown is basically gone.
Yep.
Last year had some pretty severe slowdown with 8 people, and more so with 8 creator wrestlers. And if you put them in a creator arena, you might as well be playing the game on slow mo. That's not a thing anymore. We tried an 8-person match in a creator arena with what creator wrestlers we have, I believe.
I think it was only 6, but yeah.
Yeah, and it was nothing. It was fine.
It was fine. The load times are really great this year until I did the 6 creator wrestlers in a creator arena. And at first it was, it looked really bad. It looked like the load times are going to be nasty. But then 75% of the bar filled like that.
Yeah, those bars are basically an estimate anyway, but I'd say it took about twice as long as normal, and the normal load times are very fast, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It didn't even take as long as that same match would have taken to load last year.
It's worth noting that you are keeping pace with me with creator wrestlers.
That's not normally what happens.
No. Usually I kind of have to poke and push and drag you to make your dudes. But this year you've made 2 new guys, 2 completely fresh characters.
Yep.
And I think you just finished one of your older guys you brought back up, who I'm excited to see when I've got some time. But right now I'm recording a podcast.
Yep. I literally finished him right before we went to go do session 0 of a new game of D&D, so I haven't even seen him in action yet. But it's just the creative suite is really good. I like a lot of the changes, and it's just sort of nice to sit down and sort of tool away at something without having to be too invested. And that's one of the reasons I started with new guys, is because I get sort of invested in making sure my old guys look correct, like their faces look like their faces do, and all that stuff. And it's a lot of very minor detail work. Whereas with new guys, I can just that guy wears a mask. Why? I wanted him to. All right, moving on.
It is really refreshing, and it's, for guys like us who've had, either through e-fetting or through video game wrestling, have had a healthy stable of original characters. for going on 15, 20 years. Having those fresh faces that you don't feel as beholden to make sure they're, accurate to the legacy you built or whatever. It is nice and refreshing.
Fun fact, because of the pictures you've sent me about the front you loaded up previous years, I realized there's actually one of the characters who was an established character from my e-fetting who had a very important in-character arm injury. Between games one year, I switched which arm it was on and didn't notice. So it's on that arm now, whatever.
Man, that has been something too. Leading up to this, for my own personal reasons and to help the boy making his creator wrestlers, just as a frame of reference, and so I could uninstall some old games from the hard drive. Excuse me. I took pictures of our creator wrestlers just to have an idea of what to go by, and you really don't know how much a game has improved until you go back. And I saw a thread on the Reddit about this as well. Loading up 2K15, was it?
16 was the earliest one I have pictures.
Oh my god, the slowdown. It's so slow. Everything takes forever to load. Everything was a crawl, going through menus. I was happy I didn't have that many guys that I wanted to get screen grabs of, because just going in and out of the Creator Wrestler menus, and even small quality of life things, because I would go into the Creator Wrestler menu, I'd load a Creator Wrestler, I'd do whatever with that guy, and then I'd back out, and it would back me all the way out to the main menu.
And that's just tiny stuff that they've improved over time.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that 2K, that we don't often give them enough credit for, is that they gotta make one of these fucking things every year, and every year if it's not one of those reset years where they gotta start a whole new engine and stuff, they make improvements. Every year there are substantial changes and improvements and quality of life increases.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, you can now mirror certain facial features and items, clothing and gear in Creator Wrestler, and it
just speeds things up.
Yeah.
To an amazing extent.
Take forever getting a guy's eye color right. They had the saved color palette where you could just go in, load the eye, go to the color, and then hit, save and move on.
But it's 6 steps.
And now you just go in, hit copy, and you've got what you had.
It's just small quality of life increases. The game itself isn't changed drastically.
Yeah, it's faster is the biggest thing about it. I
think that's a really smart change, too.
Yeah, they've done some overhauls to the strike system, too, which have been so satisfying. Strike reversals and the way a hit lands, depending on how tired your wrestler is and how tired the other guy is, and size differences are just phenomenal.
I totally agree. Some other stuff that's really good is they did a lot. There's a lot more animations, it seems like.
Yeah.
Because just when testing out the guy I was making earlier, I was testing out various moves, and I noticed that even in the little move previewer where it's just two generic dudes doing the moves, I would test out a move, and the guy who was doing the actual, offense would do it, and the guy taking the move would react differently every time.
Yeah. Yeah, it just keeps things being dynamic, and you don't have to expect the exact same flopping around or, being hit by the move or whatever. It's really nice. It's those small things that really make the game come together and make it really worthwhile and enjoyable to play. They've also brought in this new payback feature, which I think is really good.
It's not only is it a fun feature itself, but it's a really great way to incentivize having a match that looks like a wrestling match. Mm-hmm. Because in the previous games, if you were actually treating it as a competitive sort of thing, your matches don't end up looking a lot like wrestling matches. Your matches end up looking like whoever's better at the reversal mechanic curb stomping the other person. Until they run out of reversals. But now, with the payback system, you charge up payback by getting damaged.
Yeah.
So you can afford to conserve reversals for more important moves because you're also getting something out of taking the moves. You're getting something out of getting damaged, which is the opportunity for payback stuff later.
And it also makes it to where if you use all those reversals, you blow it all early, it's not, and now I don't get to have fun until my reversals charge back up. You have these opportunities that pop up to use these payback moves.
And some of the payback moves are literally one is it auto-reverses all things that count as quick reversals. it just auto does it the next time someone tries to move, which is you don't have to learn the timing. I haven't tried that yet, so I don't know exactly how it works. Another one is it gives you +1 reversal charge.
There's one that gives you a finisher.
Yep, just boop, press the button. Now I have a finisher.
There's one that you enter a state, you hit the button, and while the timer ticks down, you have your opponent's moveset.
Which is super neat.
Yeah, like the finisher stealing thing has been taken to an entirely new level because you can just copy their whole damn moveset. You can just stunt on a guy. That's really cool. They've also improved cage matches in Hell in a Cell. We didn't manage to get outside the cell, but I thought the cell changes were pretty cool.
We didn't manage to get outside the cell, but the way they changed the way the cell, the way it is, it actually much more closely fits the dimensions of the cell on the actual IRL one. Because before, the area around the cell in the video games was much bigger than in real life.
Yeah,
because
to let you do moves.
Yeah, let you do moves and let the guys, make it so the characters move. Like normally. But this year they've programmed in a special, like, narrow mode that happens outside the ring, but inside the cell walls, which is a fun little extra mechanic, and it made it so that it didn't feel like, because I didn't get out of the cell, I was doing half the match.
Right.
It let me have a Hell in a Cell match where I was in the cell and didn't feel like I was missing out.
Cage matches are spectacular. I can see myself playing a lot of those this year.
They're way more fun also. The cage escape mechanic is just better. The things you can do with the cage are just way more robust and fun. Mm-hmm. They mention this as a watchword, from what I understand, in their development talks and in the pregame release interviews. But they really wanted to focus on fun this year, and that really comes through. There are still the simulationist aspects, and I like those too. But the game is more fun to play, and that's very important.
Yeah. Notably, I mentioned this to you earlier today, but I'm not all that excited to start using my creator wrestlers. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that, that are personal reasons. But a lot of it is also just that it's fun to play with the roster. The game is fun enough to play that I don't want to wait around until we've got however many dudes we feel is appropriate to start doing matches with them. It's, and
okay. Also, we never use the real wrestler roster, and it's huge. It's a gigantic roster full of people. I would not mind running a WWE Universe mode with the actual wrestlers.
Universe mode has some quality of life improvements too. I haven't dipped into it, and I find it a little flighty sometimes. I think most people find it kind of subpar. I don't think it's quite par yet, but it's really getting there. I mean, you can assign managers now. If I'm understanding the way they talk about things correctly, you can save changes to a wrestler across not only the out-of-game mode, but also any of your 3 universe saves. Or none of them, if you want to keep things simple or you want to keep it existent across the roster. I believe this extends to tag teams too, which is a great incentive for us to play fucking tag teams, because setting up tag team entrances over and over and over again, like you had to do between universe mode and regular matches,
it just wasn't worth it.
It wasn't. Another incentive to use tag teams again is they brought back the triple and 4-way tag matches.
Because you have 6 and 8 people available in the ring, why the hell wouldn't you do that?
I'm sure.
I believe a triple tag match is one of the first things we did.
Yeah. The first thing was the Royal Rumble. The second thing was a triple tag match. And my God, playing as the Usos was just
a blast.
So enjoyable.
A blast. We stole that win.
Yeah, man. And there was a beautiful little moment where I had a finisher and you had a finisher, and you started setting up to do their super kick. And I just happened to be nearby, and it said, "Hey, you have a finisher, use it." And I was like, "Yeah, okay."
So the game saw that we both had a finisher, saw that we both wanted to use it, and just organically set us up for their double-sided super kick finisher.
That was fantastic. It wasn't any difficult, getting into the grapple, making sure you're in position, hitting the right button.
No,
he started a super
natural.
kick, and I joined him.
Neither of us really knew what was going on.
Yeah, that made it
like
all
I was
more...
just trying to do my finisher, and then I was like, "What? I'm holding on." Oh, you're there. Oh!
It was awesome. And honestly, this, joining the roster like this reminds me of how much I really do love a lot of the people hired by the WWE.
Yeah, whether or not we like whether or not we always like creatives' work, the boys, they have an amazing roster.
They really do. Very talented.
Backstage is just filled with talent, and it upsets me because that means I can't watch as much of it as I want. I can't enjoy those talents because of the creative sometimes. Mm-hmm. But with the WWE Universe, that's why I want to try out Universe Mode with the actual dudes, is because
Yeah.
I want to book it better, because I'm a smartass.
We can push whoever we want. Like
Yeah.
Roman Reigns. Completely different from real life.
Hey! Nah, dude, what are you talking about? If I'm actually in charge, that is not who's at it. Look, I think he gets a bad rap, but no.
I forgot how much I really loved the Usos until we played that match, and I'm just...
Usos tag team champions SmackDown for all time.
Oh my god, they're so good.
And then put the New Day on Raw and the tag champions on Raw for all time. Other tag teams go home. No, don't go home. We need you for the other guys to beat.
But yeah, all the match types are fun. I mean, it's still got its issues. Sometimes the ropes go a little crazy. Sometimes hit detection is odd.
There's this weird glitch that I'm sure they'll fix where sometimes it plays 2 entrance musics at once.
Might have something to do with all the music I have in the jukebox. It might not. There's been a similar glitch in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is a version of that rearing its ugly head. I haven't been able to find how to start a match at the Wyatt compound. I'd like to.
Maybe it's a secret.
I don't know. I tried to Google it even, and the internet was like, you can do it. And I'm like, okay, but how? You can do it. Okay.
I tell you what, load it up after we're done here, and I'll go check it out.
Go for it, my dude. Do whatever makes you happy there. But,
I might also go to bed. I'm very tired.
it has been a long day, but a good day. Man, like I'm trying to find a sort of place to start talking from, and I've heard a lot of people say this on the Reddit, but the game is very overwhelming in a way. It's hard to tell what to do first. Oh, career mode. Career mode seems to have been vastly improved. It's got its own little story. It's not a simulation like Universe mode is. It's a little story about coming up from the indies, going into the WWE, and being fucked with by Triple H. It's the short version. They also, it's fully voiced, and it's kind of silly. If you liked the old SmackDown story modes,
where sometimes there was a zombie or...
Yeah, this is more like that, where it's fun and it's dumb and you get to have a good time. They've also brought back showcase mode for Daniel Bryan, which means our 6-man Hell in a Cell was the Daniel Bryan Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, it was the ultimate it was Dragon Fight. Dragon Bowl. I was playing modern Daniel Bryan. You were playing Wyatt family Daniel Bryan?
Yes.
Because neither of us wanted to be 2013 at the height of his powers, Daniel Bryan.
We figured that was unfair. We put him and
Bryan Danielson in the hands of the one they added in to be like, yeah, he was here before, and yeah, it's not his real name. Shut up.
I think it's actually for like a special fight in the showcase mode. I don't know. I haven't done it. I probably
imagine if they did the showcase mode and like it did a flashback like Wayne's World sequence to that match with John Cena.
Maybe. It's Daniel Bryan's career. We're not huge fans of him. I respect him. I like the work he's done. But if you're a fan, hell, man.
It's undeniable that he's the single most over wrestler in modern WWE history. No one touches him since Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I don't know the situation now. Maybe everyone hates him. Maybe he's the new Roman Reigns.
I mean, at the height of his powers.
Sure. At the height of his ability.
It's whether or not I personally enjoy his mic work all the time or whatever. You can't dispute results. The dude got over so ridiculously that he warped the industry.
That definitely deserves a showcase mode. So it's good to see that that's back. Create an Arena has a lot of new tweaks and stuff to it. The lighting system fucking works again. It was a series of...
Boy, howdy, does it work.
Yeah, I had to change some lights because they were so fucking bright that half our ring was tainted radioactive green. Which is cool. If that's the effect you want to go for, dude, you can do that.
So easily you can do it on accident, in fact.
Yeah. So I'm excited to actually get in there deep and play around with it and get really happy about setting up an arena. It's just cool little features. I believe I said it to you a few days ago, because we are still in the, I pre-ordered this on my Xbox, so I got it 5 days early, I believe it was. So that I've been plugging away at it. You guys have access to it starting Tuesday, I believe. But it really feels.
Wait, we got it early?
Yeah.
Ha! Go us!
We just pre-ordered it. Not that special. Just
no, I mean like go
money
us.
and foresight. But
I was gonna make a joke there, but I'm not gonna disrespect a man's memory. Go ahead.
2K18 feels like the beta for 2K19.
Now that we have 2K19, I think that's you basically can't see it any other way.
No,
a lot
the
of the
amount
stuff
of
that
polish
was
here.
a lot of the stuff that was clearly sort of rough cut at the time it's polished now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's whole sections which feel like they should have been in the last game. And now that I have them, I go, oh, that's what that hole was.
Yeah. Now there are still some downsides, some things that we're not super fond of. There are some combinations of like gear and hair and masks and stuff in Creator Wrestler that were not a problem last year that are now a problem this year. Now, in exchange, there are some combinations that were a problem last year that aren't this year. I don't know what metrics solve it. I'm sure it's put these clothes on this guy and see what wigs out.
Yeah, that almost seems entirely like... Alright, so it's probably either related to resource management and loading the characters, or it's related to QA testing of when this man has this hair and this mask on, his whole head turns into a snowstorm that takes up the entire ring. Okay, well then, don't do that. Just turn that off.
Reminds me of, and I think I've told this story on the podcast before. I was playing an old N64 wrestling game with my dad, and I used a bunch of cheat codes to like cause different effects to happen. And I hit a button, and the motion wigged out the character model so much that like it was a pixel explosion. Then everything went white, and then the game crashed. My dad looked at me and goes, "What did you do?" I was like, "That was my special move. I can only do it once, though." I don't know if I ever explained to him what happened. So yeah, stuff like that doesn't seem to happen as much now. I mean, you get glitches. It's a really, really technically complex game with a lot of fucking layers on it. So
there are going to be glitches. Yeah. It's not a fucking Bethesda game, and I don't give them as much shit. So whatever.
Yeah, basically.
Video games are hard to make, and I can't do it. So whatever. I'm willing to give it a little bit of a leeway.
Creating a move list is still a Herculean task.
Or, are there any wrestlers you kind of like but don't know much about? Use their move list instead.
Which is, I mean, that's basically what we end up doing and then tweaking things from there. Like, I keep wanting to go in, because I remember in my youth I made full move lists from scratch. I checked every move to make sure it was good.
Same.
Now it took me about as long as it used to take me to do a fucking move list to look at taunts.
Like, literally, I retired the last character that I did that for earlier this year. And, like, and how he was the last character that I went through and personally handled all his moves to make sure they fit. One of the new characters I made is his protege. And I'm not doing that for him.
And it's usually okay, so long as you don't take shit too seriously. Get a guy, load up his stuff, give him some move list that's similar.
And if something really looks stupid or you just don't like it, go in and change that one thing.
Yeah, get a couple of matches in and go, okay, there's about 5 moves I want to change. Let's fix that.
I did that earlier today, in fact.
There you go. Soundtrack's pretty banging, outside of the wrestler themes, and including some of the wrestler themes. They have some really good music in the E this year.
2 small bitches. One, why will you not let me have the soundtrack music as entrance themes? It's already there, on the game. Give. Why not? I know why not. It's a licensing issue, I'm sure, or some bullshit like that. But give.
It's the same reason a bunch of legends and like Tommaso Ciampa and a couple other guys aren't.
The pay-per-views don't have their actual.
Oh
music.
Yeah, no.
They have sound-alikes and not very good ones. And one final bitch that will remain a bitch until the end of time because we're never getting it back is I will never not miss being able to import entrance music.
Yeah, and I think, as I said earlier, I'm not super hype up on my creator wrestlers right now. And part of that is that the roster's really cool and I want to experience it. But part of it is also that the entrances just aren't getting me hype. It's not...
Because you can't pick this, like, specific Black Sabbath song you have for this entrance. Mm-hmm. And I can't... Well, the guy I retired who was who had Disturbed as some Disturbed song as his theme music for basically his whole career, or at least the vast majority of it. I couldn't have a Disturbed song for him, so I didn't give a shit about his entrance because it's not the character, you know.
Well, you know, and I think getting into it as well, because obviously we haven't had music for a couple of years now, but this is the first year
and
I've been...
I'm gonna bitch about it every year we don't.
Oh, sure, that's fair. Look, I wish Xbox and or PlayStation would figure out something that they were comfortable with that allowed us to do that, but gotta please the RIAA. But I think getting into the characters is really a large part of it. We didn't have the music last year, and it didn't bother me in that way. This year, I'm not in an E-Fed. I'm not doing anything like that, so it's a lot harder for me to be hype about whatever characters I have. And on one hand, that's awesome, because like we said earlier, that's a fresh palette. You can make whoever you want. I don't feel beholden to make one of my big guys, you know, one of the big legacy guys. And I can just make an idiot in a cat mask, or 3. And that's awesome, but it's all, you know, I'm going to get in a match, cat mask idiot. I miss being excited over different idiot.
I can jump into the game and be like, I want to make a guy. All right, I made him. All right, good. Now I press this button to give him a random series of colors. That's another thing I wanted to actually mention.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Is there's a in the Create a Wrestler button, you can equip all their in the Create a Wrestler feature, you can equip all their stuff, and then there's an option to just assign them a random color palette, and it's not just wacky random colors. Like, it specifically seems to be assigning colors that complement each other well.
Mm-hmm. I'd say they draw from, like, a number of color palettes of similar colors, and they'll assign them not fully randomly. There seems to be an algorithm to it, but because it ends up looking good. Depending on what your guy is.
One of them looks so good, I literally abandoned the color scheme I'd made for the guy and gave him a better one.
It looks great. If you really want to see it in action, try it on Rey Mysterio or any luchador, really. Sin Cara.
Or somebody else who has like an outfit with a lot of bits, with a lot of separate little areas and bits or entrance attire.
You can also completely randomize their outfit. That's not an option you had before. You can just hit random, and the gear on them is changed to whatever. And you can use that random palette thing to go in individually and take an individual item and randomize its colors. Or take an individual color and hit random on it to get a random color. So, like, it's got tiers of depth to it. They've added more materials, and that's always awesome to make things look like different.
Crocodile skin.
Or denim. You can make a guy in a denim suit. Which actually is nice, because there's been many years where I wanted to make jeans on somebody, but they didn't have the right shape of jeans. Now I can do that.
Yeah, you can just give him pants and then make them denim, and congratulations, they're jeans now.
Yep. So, very, very pleased about that. You can give him a Minecraft body.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's again, to focus. The focusing on the fun bit is there's a block body option where it's just the thing takes whatever you've made so far and just makes it a Minecraft block.
Well, no, actually, you draw it on there. It looks like it does. It only takes whatever you made so far, because the default Creator Wrestler and the default block body look the same.
Oh.
You have to fill it in pixel by pixel, which is not that tedious. It's pretty intuitive, as much as it can be on a controller. But there's not that many pixels because it's Minecraft-style graphics where they're huge squares. But, you know, YouTubers especially get very popular Minecraft avatar-style characters. And I remember seeing a lot of, amidst the Steves, a lot of characters like that using the big round head model with a Minecraft face taped onto it. And now you can just make your Minecraft guy.
Yeah.
You know, they've got big head mode. That's a big thing they're advertising. That's goofy. We haven't tried it out personally. I haven't had a reason to, but... I
mean, I probably will at some point just because why not?
Yeah. It's
good to have fun with this fun video game for once.
Yeah. And it's fast-paced and it's groovy, man. I really dig the hell out of it. There's so much I'm not saying because I honestly just keep forgetting because there are so many improvements.
It is overall just a pretty much across. Can you think of anything you liked better in the last game?
like nitpicky stuff about I can't make this character's attire exactly the same way.
But like actually stuff you like changes you thought are for the worse.
No, because like I said, I feel like this is just
the beta.
The last game was the beta. This is the actual game.
They finally went gold with the new game.
I mean, it's that much of a quality and polish jump. Is it perfect? No.
They'll never be perfect. Look, you can't have them. You get to pick two. A game can be good, it can be done fast, or it can be done cheap. You get to pick two.
Yeah. And they had some budget cuts, which is why we don't have guys like Mick Foley. Any of the Mick Foley.
And it's an incredibly good game for the restrictions they have to function under.
Yeah. They didn't include loot boxes. They said they were gonna, and then they didn't. They've got, like, card packs for a specific mode, like the Towers mode. Shit, that's another thing. They have Mortal Kombat-style towers that update on the weekly, I think, maybe monthly. There's so much shit in this game you can do that, like, I'm never going to touch some
There's
of it.
a whole button. There's just, like, there is an actual feature in the paybacks where you can give people teleporting powers like The Undertaker. They just gave that to everyone at your leisure. This is a good game.
So, yeah, if you like wrestling, if you were kind of hesitant last year but were leaning toward maybe, but just didn't end up buying it, this might be your year.
If you bought last year and ended up not playing it super a lot, this is your year. Go for it.
Yeah, that's what I got to say about that. We might talk more about it in the future once we get some more shit done, or we may never speak of it again. But know that we will be enjoying it.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.